الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى في كلامه المجيد: ولقد كرمنا بني آدم وحملناهم في البر والبحر ورزقناهم من الطيبات وفضلناهم على كثير ممن خلقنا تفضيلا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we have certainly honored the children of Adam alayhi salatu wassalam and carried them on the land and sea and provide for them of the good things and preferred them over much of what we have created. This ayah establishes a principle, and that principle is that we as human beings are the noblest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation, and we must maintain our status of nobility. Allah Azza wa Jal gave us guidance, and each part of that guidance guides us to that nobility that Allah wants from us. Therefore, Shaitan started guiding people to the opposite direction, taking away their dignity, the dignity of human being, the dignity of human society, taking away its reputation and nobility. So we have two systems in this world. The first system was given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the prophets and messengers. And the second system is given to human being by Shaitan. And obviously, as believers in Allah, as the followers of the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it is our fundamental responsibility to stand up against that system which was introduced by Shaitan. And it is our duty that we maintain our status of nobility, and we remain ashraful makhluqat. But unfortunately, what's happening, we as human beings, or we as human society, we have fallen the lowest of the low. We are no longer ashraful makhluqat because of what we do or what people in the society usually do. In fact, many of these people have become worse than animals. Animals kill each other because they are hungry. But humans kill each other because this is what they like to do. They have no purpose in life. They want to do the experiment of their weapons. So they think that, we're going to drop bombs on this population and on that population so that we can test our weapons. So we are, in this particular aspect, worse than animals. Animals do not kill their children, their babies. Only some of them do if they are hungry. And they know that we're going to die, so they have no option but to kill their own babies and eat them. I'm not justifying that. But think about human being. There is a whole movement in this country, and it's called abortion. There are people who advocate abortion. Women abort children. And this abortion sometimes comes as a political movement, as a political statement. A woman becomes so proud of her action of abortion, and she says, well, I am exercising my right because I live in a free country. So she is taking the life of a baby, of a fetus in her womb, Why? Only for a political reason. Animals are not like that. There are people who commit bestiality. You will not find any animal doing this kind of act with the animal of another species. But 8% men every year in this country, according to a data, commit bestiality. It's a very large number. It's a huge number. So are we not worse than animals? There is no official data, but there are reports that a lot of people commit necrophilia. You will not find a single animal doing that. And I don't want to go in details because I know that some of the things that I am saying is not appropriate for a certain age. So if you don't understand these terms, good for you. And if you do understand, mashallah. So these are the few examples that show that human society, especially in the place where we live, in Western culture, it has become worse than animals. We have fallen that low. So are we still ashraful makhluqat? It doesn't look like that. If you are committing those acts, if you are justifying that system, if you subscribe to that nizam, which is called liberalism, then you have lost your position of being ashraful makhluqat. You are arzalul makhluqat, the lowest of the creation of Allah. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to be ashraful makhluqat, to be the noblest, but we have lost that position, unfortunately. So, if that is the case, then one asks this question, that why it didn't happen? How come human agreed to fall this low and become worse than animals? It's a very long story, and we cannot go in all the details because we have very limited time. But the fact of the matter is that there were individuals in the past who did not like religion, not only Islam, any religion, be it Christianity, Judaism, Islam, or any religion. They did not like tradition. Therefore, they started a war against all traditions, and that war is now known as liberalism. In 1859, there was a philosopher. 1859 is when he died. His name is John Stuart Mill. He defines liberalism. He says that it's a moral philosophy that believes in maximizing freedom, equality, and autonomy. So, a moral philosophy that gives you more and more freedom, more and more autonomy, more and more equality, that is called liberalism. The question is that people who believe in liberalism, they ask Muslims that you Muslims are backward because you don't believe in equality. You don't have equal rights. And therefore, the Western countries are superior. Because when we go to the Muslim countries, women in some countries are not allowed to drive. By the way, that used to happen back in the days, not anymore. But in some of those countries, women are not allowed to travel alone. So women have more restrictions. But when you come to the European countries, the Western countries, women are as free as men. Full and complete equality. So does Islam not promote equality? It doesn't believe in equality? And if that is the case, then liberalism should be better than Islam. This is what they think. But let me explain this concept of equality with an example. Imagine if from this crowd I pick somebody and I ask him to leave right away. And he wonders why. And I say that because I hate you. And therefore you must leave this hall immediately. I don't want you to listen to this speech today. Then all of you will not approve this thing. That's because just if I have a personal beef with someone, I should not ask him to leave. He should be treated with respect. He should be treated just like everyone else is being treated. If everyone else is allowed and is welcomed here, then that person should also be welcomed here. But if I tell you the justification of that act, If I tell you that I have confirmed news, I'm 100% sure that he is the spy of an enemy. And he will report to that enemy what is being said here, what is being done here. And for that reason, because I know that, he shouldn't be welcomed in this masjid. Now most of you will justify this, that now you're right, because you have a justification that this person shouldn't be here. So if he is asked to leave, it's a right move. And everyone else can be welcomed, but that person shouldn't be welcomed. It means that sometime inequal treatment is justified. Unequal treatment is moral. Another example, imagine if I have two books printed by the same printer publisher, same thickness, same number of pages, and same subject matter. Imagine both of them are the copies of the Quran. And then I say that I respect both copies of the Quran because both of them are the words of Allah, Kalamullah. Yes, equal treatment is definitely justified. But imagine if I am holding in my right hand the book of Allah, a religious book, but on the other hand, same size, a book of same size, but it consists of stories that usually are narrated by drag queens in schools and libraries. Then would you demand same equal treatment? Would you say that just like you're respecting the Quran, Kalamullah, you should also respect this evil book? No. Though these two books came from the same publisher, same company, same size, same color of its cover, everything is same, content is different. You will say that now, because content is different, therefore they should not be treated equally. That shows that sometimes equal treatment is good, sometimes unequal treatment is good. Therefore, equality is that you treat equal things equally and unequal things unequally. That is the right definition of equality. People who live in a liberal system and who are not aware of Islam, they subscribe to this evil nizam, evil system. They raise objection against Islam. They say that Islam does not promote equality. Go to Muslim countries or go to any Islamic setup where you have 100% Islamic nizam or Islamic government. The Islamic government will impose jizya on its non-Muslim citizens, but it will not impose the same tax on Muslim citizens. This is complete inequality. This objection comes oftentimes from non-Muslims, from Islamophobes. And we confirm this. We believe that jizya is a part of Islam. It is mentioned in the Quran. So there is no way we can deny or we say that no, there is no such thing as jizya in Islam. The moment you do that, you're out. You're out of Islam because jizya is mentioned in the Quran. You're denying an ayah of the Quran. So if that is the case, then how do we justify this? Well, we know that in an Islamic state, the main thing is Islam. It is completely and entirely dependent on Islam and Islamic values. Muslims are those who agree with the base with the constitution of that country. Whereas non-Muslims, they disagree with the basic thing that the Islamic country stands upon. They disagree with it, that's why they don't follow it. Muslims are on the right side, they are on haqq. And non-Muslims are on the wrong side, they are on batil. If there are two groups, one is on the haqq and the other is on the batil, then how can they be treated equally? They should be treated equally. But that doesn't mean that non-Muslims living in an Islamic country are deprived of their basic rights. In fact, they have to give jizya so that they can buy protection. Muslims now will provide them protection. And they have equal laws, equal responsibilities. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said about zimmis, that those who give jizya to the Islamic government, that lahum ma lil muslimina wa alayhim ma ala al muslimin, that they get same responsibilities and same rights. In fact, in certain areas they have more rights. For example, a Muslim man is allowed to buy and sell cows and sheep. But a non-Muslim person, as he is allowed to buy and sell cows and sheep, he is also allowed to buy and sell pork. This liberty is not given to a Muslim man. A non-Muslim person is allowed to trade wine living in an Islamic state. A Muslim person is not allowed to do that. So they have more rights than Muslims. Muslims, as they are allowed to follow their personal laws, non-Muslims are also allowed to follow their personal laws. Imagine being in this country. How many personal laws are given to Muslims? Are you as a Muslim allowed to exercise your right of polygamy? No. This right is given to you by Islam. This right is given to you by the Quran. It has become, not only it has become a taboo in Muslim and non-Muslim society, it is also considered illegal. You know, a lot of people who come to America and they apply for citizenship. So they have to fill out a form. And on that form they have to say that I pledge an oath that I never exercise polygamy in my life. So when you pledge this oath, then only you are entitled to receive citizenship. This is the nature of a country that promotes equality. If everybody has equal right, then Muslims should also have right to exercise their personal laws, just like non-Muslims have right to exercise their personal laws in an Islamic country. So this is the hoax that this liberal society or Western countries, they operate upon. They say that, oh, we believe in equality, but there is no equality. Let me give you another example of inequality in this society. We have inequality which is birth-based. Imagine if you come to United States and you become US citizen after 10 years, 20 years, and you speak English just like any other person in America who's born in America, who's raised in America, he speaks. You have more knowledge than that person because you have completed your PhD and the guy didn't even pass his high school. You have no right to become the president of this country legally. That person has a right to become the president. So where is equality? They both are US citizens. They both have a right to vote. One can become the president and the other cannot be. This is inequality which is based on birth. These Western societies also promote inequality based on race, racial inequality. If a person he identifies or he claims that he is a Jew, doesn't matter where he lives, whether he lives in Saudi Arabia, he lives in Pakistan, he lives in Malaysia, or he lives in Spain or in any other non-Muslim country. He goes to Israel and he says that I'm a Jew. The Israeli government will provide him Israeli citizenship right away. So imagine if you are one of the children of those Arabs who were expelled from their territory, from Palestine in 1960, and now you want to go back to your homeland. You are an Arab. You want to go back to your homeland because you have a home there. Your ancestors used to live there. You were forced to leave that country, that region in 1960. And now you want to go back. You are denied entrance. You're not allowed to go there. Why? Because you are not a Jew. This right is given to a Jewish individual, perhaps who has been living in Russia or in some other countries for generations, for more than 1,000 years, 2,000 years. But because he's a Jew, he's allowed to live and settle in Israel. It's a liberal country. It is defended and supported by the Western society. So they have inequality everywhere. Yet they have audacity to object against Islam. And they say that Islam promotes inequality. There is another principle that liberalism is based upon. And this principle is called the harm principle. And this is the foundation of all the filth and problems that we see in our society today. What is the harm principle? Now, it is defined by John Stuart Mill. He says that the only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized community against his will is to prevent harm to others. Which means that if you want that government makes laws and imposes restrictions, then it has a right to impose restrictions only when you do something causing harm to another person. And that harm has to be physical. So if imagine if there is a person who rapes a woman, then there are laws. If a person hits someone, he's causing harm to that person, there are laws preventing him. But as long as you're doing anything that doesn't harm others, government will not be involved. It will not be considered an immoral act. It is completely moral. It is completely fine. Do whatever you want to do. Islam does not acknowledge this type of harm principle. Not that Islam does not promote harm principle, but this harm principle has no place in Islam. There is a hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, and it's reported by Ubadah ibn Samit radiyallahu an. He says that La dharara wa la dhirara. So the meaning of the hadith is that dharar, meaning no law of Islam is based on harm. Nothing is harmful here. Wala dharara, and you are not allowed to cause harm to others. La dharara wa la dhirara fil Islam. But the question is that what is dharar? What is harm? And that's where we are different from this Western civilization. In this Western civilization, they say that laws and morality is based on harm principle. You shouldn't harm others, but they never define what is harm. It is left up to those corrupt politicians who go to legislative councils, parliaments, and Congress, and they make laws for you. Why they are given this authority? Because people from this community, they elect those individuals saying that we are dumb, we cannot decide what is harmful for us. You go to Congress, you go to the parliament, and you decide for us what is harmful and what is not, what will work for us and what will not. And their decision changes every now and then, state to state, county to county. Do you know that child marriage is a big thing in this country? But if you start from the state of Massachusetts, you will see that under parental guidance, parental control, a girl with the consent of her parents can get married at the age of 14. But if you go to the state of California, the other side of the country, then she's not allowed to get married at that age. Imagine if a girl with her parental consent got married in the state of Massachusetts, and now she goes to California. According to Californian law, her act is immoral and illegal if she were to do this act in that state. In India, which is another example of liberal community, liberal society, just a few years ago, the minimum age was 18. And now, because of the government people, the members of parliament, they didn't like it. They say that, we need more and more girls in industries and in companies. They said that the minimum age should be 21. So what's going on here? Who decides what is harmful and what is not? What will work for human society and what will not? Bunch of politicians who have no education, who are corrupt, who are immoral, who are drowned in filth. They are the one who decide our future. They're the one who decide what is good and what is bad. They're the one who decide what is moral and what is immoral. This is the problem of liberal society. Whereas in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines darar. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam defines darar. Darar is very clear concept. There is no vagueness here. There is no ambiguity here. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah in his tafsir, he says, defining darar, he says that al-dararu ilhaqu mafsadatin bil-ghayr. Darar is that when you cause harm to others. But now the question is, what is harm? So he says, defining harm, al-fasadu. In fact, he defines mafsada. So the definition of darar is ilhaqu mafsadatin bil-ghayr, causing corruption with someone. And now what is the definition of corruption? He defines, he says, al-fasadu huwa al-amalu bil-ma'siyah, aw al-amalu bima yukhalifu an-nusus al-shar'iyyah. Fasad and corruption is that you commit a sin and you go against the Quran and the Sunnah. That is fasad. Therefore, anybody who violates the Quran and Sunnah, anyone who goes against the Quran and Sunnah, anyone who commits sin, a grave sin, he is actually causing harm to himself and to the others, and therefore it is prohibited. That's why in Islam, it is prohibited that you commit suicide. There are states in this country where committing or where suicide is an option. You can choose this option to take your life. There are certain conditions that you have to fulfill. For example, in the state of Oregon, you can suicide and you can choose to die. In Islam, doesn't matter what is your health condition, doesn't matter what is your mental condition, you're not allowed to do that. One can say that I'm not harming anyone else, I'm simply taking my life. In Islam, this is darar. But in liberal system, it is not darar. It is not harm, you're not causing harm to anyone. In Islam, you're not allowed to curse. But in liberal system, it is absolutely fine. There is no laws. There are no laws that will prevent you from cursing others. In Islam, it is an immoral act, and we will be accountable before Allah if we curse others. In liberal system, we are allowed to criticize and slander anyone. In Islam, we are not allowed. However, the liberal system will say that if you're slandering someone and this guy is losing money, this guy has monetary loss, now that person can go to the court and file a defamation case against you. But in Islam, doesn't matter whether you lose money, you don't lose money. Your honor, your reputation, your dignity is the biggest asset. Therefore, others are not allowed to defame you. So these are the basic fundamental differences between liberal system and Islamic system. Then this harm principle, it says that you are free to do whatever you like to do. And this is the last section of my talk today, and it is very important. You know, this notion that we are free to do whatever we like to do, it is the foundation of 1960s sexual revolution. And you know, all the filth that we see around us, it started from 1960s. So what happened, that boys and girls were given absolute freedom, do whatever you like to do. No parental control, no nothing. And the society was systematically changed by promoting pornography and other things. America changed completely because they knew that if America changes, then the whole world will change. And this is exactly what happened. Now, we need to see that the society that believes in absolute freedom, did it harm itself and others or not? If you see the data, you will be shocked. From 1973 to 2022, in these 40-50 years, do you know how many abortion cases are there? 62 million babies have been aborted in these 3-4 decades. 62 million. If science acknowledges that a woman who's pregnant, she is carrying a life in her womb, then that fetus is alive, and taking life is murder, then how is it possible that the system that says that as long as you're not harming others, you're good, it allows to harm 62 million babies? This is called inconsistency of this filthy system. In this country, as a result of this revolution in 1960, we have unwed births. Nearly 30% children in the white community and 70% in the black community. What happens when this phenomena rises? Poor schooling, more poverty, more crime. Because when a child is born, the father is gone. He's not there. He's not part of the family because the wedding never took place. So a single parent will raise that child. And she also has to work. She has to support herself and her child. Now this child will go to school where poor education will be given to him. And he will drop out the school. And because he will be a dropout, therefore he will not be able to make his life better in the future. Low job, and then more poverty, and then more crimes. This is the problem of the system. Pornography addiction in this society. Do you know that 12% internet is occupied by all of these types of websites? 12% is a big number. You know, the largest consumers of pornography websites are 12 to 17-year-old kids. 12 to 17-year-old kids. They're the largest consumers. And many of these children at the age of 8 become exposed to this material thanks to their schools, and after that the availability of internet, and there is no parental guidance. What does this pornography do to our society? One can say, well, you know, it's none of your business. This person has freedom to do whatever he likes to do. So let me read a quote for you. There is a person, she's a psychologist, her name is Mary Ann Linden. She writes, she says that in 10 years, I had not treated one case of sexual violence that did not include pornography. So if a person becomes addicted to pornography, then he becomes criminal. And here, 12-person internet is dedicated to make people addicted to pornography so that they become criminals. This is the reality of liberal society. She says, the crimes that are connected to the permission-giving beliefs which are spread in pornography are not just incest and child rape. They are adult rape, sexual harassment, adult and child prostitution, adult and child sex trafficking, and domestic violence combined with sexual assault. All of these connections have been found in both clinical experience and in research. Then there is another problem that a lot of people are not aware of this. In America, sex trafficking is a huge industry. Do you know that in this country, $9.5 billion come through sex trafficking every year. In this country, approximately 300,000 children are at risk of being prostituted in the United States. In this country, 1 out of 3 of teens on the street will be lured toward prostitution within 48 hours of leaving home. These are not made up stats. These are not made up stories. These are real, true data provided by the government itself. So if this is the result of sexual revolution, which is based on liberalism, the harm principle, then this liberalism is definitely a weapon of mass destruction, because it is not destroying only lives, it's destroying families, it's destroying souls, is destroying societies, is destroying communities, is destroying nations and countries, is destroying everything. These people were looking for the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq in 2003, knowing that they have bigger weapon sitting here in their own system, which is destroying the entire human race. So now when we see around, we find that there are some movements that are presenting resistance to liberal society. For example, the Red Pill movement. And then inshallah I will conclude. I know we're all hungry, we have to go. Red Pill movement. These are Christians, conservative Christians, who are fed up with the system and they want to rectify. They want to bring change. They want to bring reform. But they don't know how to reform. They are very strong voices against transgenderism. I was watching a video yesterday. There's a famous guy, his name is Ben Shapiro. So he was saying that I don't mind if a person, when he becomes adult, suppose he is 25 years old, and he changes his sex, he becomes transgender, I don't mind because it's a free society, free world, you do whatever you like to do. My problem is transgenderism among kids. We as Muslims, we have a very clear message. We have problem with transgenderism as a whole, from the beginning, whether it is among kids or adults or 90-year-old or even dead. Transgenderism is evil in itself. This is a clear message. Respected brothers and sisters, we as a Muslim ummah have a great advantage, especially being here in this country. This is the country that messed up the whole world since 1960. by introducing the sexual revolution. When it changed, the whole world changed. When you bring this country back to its fitrah, back to normal, back to its noble status, I guarantee the whole world will be fixed. But people who are associated to red pill or blue pill or gray pill or whatever, they have no guidance. They have no knowledge. They have no spirituality. They have no supervision, divine supervision. They have nothing to offer to the world. It is only you who can fix it. The Muslim community can fix this society. And we have the advantage of being here if we fix the society by spreading the right message in the community among non-Muslims. If this country changes, then the whole world will change. And the credit of this change will go to the Muslim ummah, Muslim community of this country. It is a big, big responsibility, respected brothers and sisters. That's why I always say that you are the chosen ones. And you have to understand your maqam, your position. And especially those Muslims who are connected to masajid, those Muslims who are connected to madaris, those Muslims who are connected to tradition, because they have that divine guidance that they can offer to the non-Muslims out there, and they can say that, look, you have no solution. You have so many children, they are wasting their future because of the sexual revolution of 1960. We have a solution, we can save you. We can save the entire humanity. We can save your values. We can save your families. We can save your communities. We can save your right to freely exercise your religion. We can save everything. The solution is with us. But before that, you need to understand that solution, my respected brothers and sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَن يُتْرَكَ سُدًى? In Surah Al-Qiyamah, he says that does human think that he will be left abandoned, unattended? Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah explains this ayah that Suda means الَّذِي لَا يُؤْمَرُ وَلَا يُنْهَى, the one who is not commanded and who is not prohibited. He is free from divine guidance. Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying that, do you think that you will live free? Do you think that you will live a liberal life? Do you think that you will raise as liberals? Do you think that you will be able to live freely in a liberal society? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is condemning this liberalism in the Quran itself. The best word in Arabic for liberalism is not al-liberaliyya. It is in fact as-sudawiyya, because it is mentioned in the Quran, أَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَن يُتْرَكَ السُّدَى. So my respected brothers and sisters, this topic is very big. And Hafiz Ragib promised me that he will allow me to start at 9 o'clock. But mashallah, there was a beautiful recitation, beautiful nasheed before my talk, and so no complaint. And I think there are certain points that should be left for another session. And perhaps that's the reason that you will come again, inshallah ta'ala. So there are a lot to say. It's a long topic, long discussion, and a very, very, very important discussion. It is the matter of our survival, spiritual survival. It's related to the future of our children. And it's related to our iman. The more liberal we are, the further we are from divine path, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So do not let shaitan snatch your iman from your heart, and do not let shaitan overcome your hearts and the hearts of your children. Insha'Allah ta'ala, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us guidance. May Allah azza wa jal give us tawfiq to follow the Quran and Sunnah and save the iman of our children. Barakallah feekum wa jazakumullah khair al-jaza wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.